West Ham world at the minute. You know, the Fulkrug stuff, the pundits are absolutely digging him out, saying he shouldn't have done that. Listen, I'm glad he's done it. I'm glad that he showed a bit of cojones, really, to call it out. You know, it's good to see. It's good to see. Anyway, this video is something different. I thought I'd go live because I'm back to work today after a 2-week Easter break. And I titled it, how I, you know, if I was the West Ham owner, if I was Daniel Kretinsky or someone like that, how West Ham could be saved, how West Ham could be resurrected from the West Ham we know. We've lost so much of West Ham over the years, you know, since our move, you know, and the dilution of the fan base and what West Ham think of, what the fan base think of the club in general. You know, people are losing interest in going over there. The real hardcore fan base, they'll still go away games. But listen, let's pretend I'm Daniel Kretinsky for today. First thing I'll do is I'm buying out David Sullivan and getting that poison out of this club. That's the best thing that could happen to West Ham. You sack Karen Brady or make her redundant, get her out of the club, have a full takeover. Listen, this is not about West Ham spending loads and loads of money, because we know it under current rules you can't do that. Newcastle know that, you know, you can't just go in and blow millions and millions like how owners used to do in the past. But if you take over Sullivan, you take full control and you get rid of Karen Brady, that would be my first thing I would do if I was the owner of West Ham United Football Club. Next thing, West Ham have to have a director of football and a philosophy that's going to be actually allowed to play out. You know, they're in charge of the youth development, they're in charge of how players come through, the transfers, the manager. You know, they are the manager's boss, they're not the manager's mate, they're not the manager's equal. The mistakes that have been made so many times over West Ham, and let it play out. You know, let the project play out, let it develop. We are so backwards as a football team, and we're the worst run club in the league, without a doubt, one of the worst run teams in the football. And then with that director of football, I think there needs to be this, what West Ham was so good in the past, we're having that West Ham connection. You know, a manager that gets West Ham, knows West Ham. And if it's not the manager that gets West Ham, it's someone on his team. It's someone, you know, Mark Noble, give him a bigger role. Give him a bigger role. Give him a bigger, you know, importance at the club. Someone who really gets it. Slaven Bilic got it. Harry Redknapp got what we were about, whether you liked Harry or not. You know, he got what it was about. And I think that's something that we need. Again, I would do. This is not about what I think will happen. This is what I would do. Next, get a progressive manager. Someone who's progressive. We need someone who wants to play, wants to excite the fans. West Ham, you know, when pundits slag us off about the West Ham way, it's exciting, it's attacking, passionate football. The Premier League in general is quite boring in terms of the styles and systems and robotic play that has killed the game, basically. It was so refreshing the other day in the Europa League, you know, with Man United, Tottenham, etc. Actually seeing games of football where teams were going for it and it weren't system based and it was all chucked out the window. I want that, man. I want a progressive manager. There's a few out there as well. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not a director of football. That's why I would, if I was, you know, if I was the chairman of West Ham, a director of football coming who knows this stuff. There's a few. The Stuttgart manager's a great manager, you know, defensively astute, but, you know, has a thing about attacking football. We need it. We need it. We need attacking players, you know. We need attacking players. West Ham love flair. We love flair. You know, Di Canio, Pyatt. I was brought up on this. My dad was Devonshire, Brooklyn. If we allow Potters and people like Moyes, you know, and even Allardyce to a certain extent back in the day, to go through and fill us with plodders and slow and hard workers. Hard workers is good, but you've got to spray around some flair. You've got to spray some excitement. West Ham is meant to be a hobby and an enjoyment and a religion to a certain extent, I suppose. It's so dull. It's becoming a chore to watch West Ham on TV. It's becoming a chore to go over there. You know, when the weekend I was close to going to the Southampton game, I think the tickets were about 45 quid or whatever where I was going to sit. And I was like, 45 quid to go and watch that at a minute. I can't do it. I'd rather take my wife out for a meal. You know, we have to get that excitement and that enjoyment back at West Ham, and that the fans are, you know, part of it. It's difficult. Listen, the stadium doesn't help the situation, but there are things that can be done. There's so much that can be done at West Ham. There's even like little things like, if I was chairman of West Ham this season, for example, at the end of the season, I'm going, okay, right, to get this community feel, to get that old West Ham vibe back going into next season, I'm going to give Aaron Cresswell a testimonial, and we're going to invite everyone back. We're going to invite Di Canio. Who knows, Payet might come back with all the stuff that's going on in his life at the moment. You know, get the Lanzinis back, let Fornells have a farewell, let James Collins have his farewell. You know, and give these players an opportunity to say goodbye to fans, even like Winston Reid, get Winston Reid back. So instead of having that useless and pointless Betway Cup game, turn it into a real community old West Ham event. You know, get Noble to manage one of the teams. You know, old West Ham versus new West Ham, whatever. You know, but a real friendly. And just bring back that energy and that positivity back to the football team and back to the fan base. That's what we need. And it's just, you know, we're so far away from that at the minute. We are so far away. Yeah, and then after that, go and get some players that are exciting. Go and get some players that don't feel like we're doing them a favour. Listen, I'm not against the stepping stone stuff, because, you know, to get a player like Paqueta, to get a player like Kudus, obviously you have to realise that these players are top, and they will use West Ham as a stepping stone. But also I want players that want to be it and see West Ham as a big step in their career, you know, and know the honour to play for it. Like, Wan-Bissaka has come from Manchester United to West Ham. You wouldn't think he's like big time Charlie and acting as if he's doing West Ham a favour. He's coming out and playing his heart out every week and knowing what it means to be a footballer and play for West Ham. And that's what you want, you know. And we need a proper captain. We need a captain that's going to, you know, galvanise this squad and show leadership and really, you know, lead by example, like what Scott Parker did, you know. I love Bowen. I love Jared Bowen. But he's not captain. He's not captain. You know, we need someone who's a mouth, someone who's going to really get us up. You know, people hark on the point that we didn't replace Declan Rice, which we didn't. But I don't think we replaced Mark either. Not in terms of playing ability. You could argue, though, there's players out there that can do exactly the same as what he did on the pitch. But it's that mentality, that fan in the dressing room who's geeing the boys up and telling them what it means to put that West Ham shirt on. We've seen the videos, how he talks to the youth kids. There needs to be another one in there like that. Will it go on and eventually be like a Freddie Potts in a few years' time? Who knows? But we need one now. We need one now. We need someone now who gets it and tells these boys, this is West Ham. This is West Ham you're playing for. You know, it means more. We're a big club. We should be back up there challenging for them top 8 spots. Yeah, there's so much wrong. There's so much wrong with our club at the minute. So much wrong. But yeah, that's a few things that I would do. A few little things that can maybe help us go forward as a football club. Will they do it? No. And that's my thing with the whole Potter situation as well. Do I particularly think Potter will change it? Not really. I think we'll play very similar style. Might get lucky, finish somewhere between 12th and 17th. And then I don't trust them to get a new manager in anyway. They've messed it up 2 or 3 times already. You know, Pellegrini, Lopetegui. Potter seems at the moment that it's not going to work out. So do you trust them to get another one in? No, because it'll be another free person. They won't go and get, you know, a Hoyness out of Stuttgart, or they won't go and get an Areola out of Bournemouth or a Silva out of Fulham who would really push this team on. I don't know, guys. Anyway, that's my thoughts for today. Let me know what you guys think. Like I say, a little bit of a random video. Just wanted to get my feelings off my chest about West Ham at the minute, and it's just not a good place. Probably going to finish best of the worst, which I don't want. You know, that Tottenham game in a couple of weeks' time will probably decide who finishes there. And I don't want to be that. You know, we're a laughing stock as a football club, and it's just. And the problem is as well, you know, finishing wherever we finish now, we're not going to finish above Everton. It becomes, and I heard Scott Minto say it yesterday, you know, I said it in the beginning of the season, careful what you wish for, West Ham fans. You know, all that lot's come out again because they love it. That's what they wanted, you know. They wanted West Ham to struggle. Their best mate Moyes is doing a great job at Everton, isn't he? I don't know. I'm leaving it there. Come on, you irons. Keep believing. Let's go.